Yeah, David and Elena. Just calling because the last time I called in a couple months ago, I asked what y'all thought about the Biden administration's relative silence on Bolsonaro and the situation in Brazil. Kind of changed since then. He's been sat down by CIA chief and Biden, kind of given a stern talking to, not to play any funny business. But with the election coming up, I'm just wondering what you all think would be a likely response from a Biden administration in the situation of any, actions on his part, or what the proper response would be, I guess.
I have no idea.
Regardless of the outcome?
You're saying if it's clear that Bolsonaro, there's been some election.
Yes,
issues.
I mean he's already saying things like if he doesn't win, there might need to be a third turn, and just a lot of the recent violence, like with the Roberto Jefferson incident, where a supporter of his threw a grenade at federal police, shot 2 cops. What you think the Biden administration would probably do, and what would be just I just always get concerned with us intervening, but I wouldn't want us to be silent, I guess.
I mean, I think part of it is a function of, frankly, what happens in the midterms on some level. And, how I think there's a real chance that the Biden administration is going to be curtailed significantly by what's going on with the impeachment hearings. They're going to start impeachment hearings. There's going to be all sorts of other hearings about Hunter Biden and this and that. It's going to eat up some resources. But I would imagine if the Democrats maintain some control over either the Senate or the House, that there may be value for the Biden administration to go further and be more public than they normally would in censuring. I don't know if they would do some form of
freeze
assets or something like this with Bolsonaro. But you're right, because that's the narrative. If Bolsonaro pulls what Trump tried to pull, right? There's an incentive for the Biden administration to highlight it. But in terms of what they'll do, I don't know. I don't know.
And Bernie and Tim Kaine have already passed that resolution supporting Democratic results of the election. And so if Tim Kaine's on board, and there also is, as Sam says, this kind of broad self-interest for the Democratic Party to reject election denial, given what's been going on with Trump and the Republicans, I can see a strong condemnation coming from the Biden administration, but not much more in terms of intervention, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I just, and again, I'm always skeptical of our actions and our intentions, but it is a situation where, obviously I wouldn't want anything like actual, I don't know. It always seems unclear, and we have such an unfortunate lack of really solid diplomats and diplomacy. And it pisses me off so much that, you've got Mike Lindell and Bannon going down there and running around with Bolsonaro's children, and the right is so much more coordinated globally, but especially Brazil's a perfect case for it. And there's no outreach, and I get that there can be connections with allegations of corruption and yada, 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 but no outreach from anybody on the left really to the PT government,
right?
To any of the leftist leaders in Latin America right now, and they're showing they're paving the road for what could be our steps forward, But I don't know. It's just. But I'll go ahead and hop off. I appreciate y'all's thoughts.
All right, David. Let me ask you one more question before you go. You're in Atlanta. I mean, I agree with your sentiments. The left is in large respects, there's a real absence of leadership, it seems to me.
The PT government raised 30 million people out of poverty. They've shown how to build infrastructure, how to, invest while at the same time appeasing, admittedly, to some of those neoliberal interests. But I mean, if that's what has to be done, in the meantime, to get some kind of results, I don't know, but it's, yeah.
What's your sense of what's going on in Georgia?
I early voted this last Friday. I think kind of in general, kind of nationwide, I feel like some of the momentum that was kind of there a couple months ago, it's died down a bit, but I do think we've maintained a little more of it. I think just because of, our candidate, literally her past couple years has strictly been about voter turnout. Mm-hmm. So I think that Stacey's going to be able to get enough out. I hope. I don't know about the Senate. I tend to think that Warnock will pull it out, but I just like people like my mother who have been like straight Republican ticket voters. Like she's basically like she's not turning out at all for almost anything anymore. I think there's enough of that, but in the suburbs especially. But I don't know. It's hard to say.
Appreciate the call, David.
Thank you. Y'all be good. Left is best.